This is the Big Moves automation blueprint and a surefire way to ensure success when it comes to automating your workflows. And today we're going to be diving into this framework. I'm going to give you a framework for success when it comes to AI automation. And you might find it hard to believe that I don't think everything should be automated all the time, even though I run an AI automation agency. Now, if you don't know me yet, my name is Mitch, and I have a community with over 700 people who've purchased our AI automation products. I also work with a number of different clients in our AI automation agency, brands doing anywhere between $30,000 a month up to $500,000 a month. And we help our clients with these types of systems all day, every day. We've seen so many different things. So when it comes to AI automation, there's a few key principles to ensure success. Because a lot of the time what happens is people start on these experimental automations when they should actually be starting in other places first. So what do I mean by experimental automations? Things like unproven AI chatbots, unproven AI systems generating AI images and videos and all of that type of stuff. Any of the really flashy systems that get a lot of attention are generally not proven for business. The things that are boring are the ones that you should be starting on. And that's generally what we suggest is we want to automate any of the manual tasks that we are doing currently. So if you have a team or you yourself have a process where you're working through ChatGPT, maybe you're using the same style of prompts every single time, you're outputting the same style of, maybe it's a marketing campaign, maybe it's a project, maybe it's scraping data, all of these types of things that you're using and you're doing them manually. These are your highest ROI and lowest risk starting points for AI automation. Then once you've done that, plus any of the other proven strategies, which are medium ROI and medium risk, suitable for the second stage, you can then get to the experimental automations. However, most people start at the experimental automations. They waste too much time, energy, focus, money, and they start losing money. Their business goes nowhere, and then they get frustrated and blame AI automations, or they blame the agency that was working for them, or they blame the contractor that was working for them, where in fact, you actually just was doing it wrong. So the way that we approach this is we look for the key drivers in every business. So I'm going to use our internal business as a case study here. So our core business drivers are our YouTube channels. So we have both the Mitch YouTube channel and we have the Big Moves AI YouTube channel. We then do AI tools reviews. So at bigmoves.ai, then if you look through the website, we have reviews for all of the different AI tools that are out there, and we're continuing to add more. So we're adding those all of the time. And then eventually we'll soon have a community offer as well. So I have a community plus a few different offers that go out. But these are our core drivers of the business. So these are the things that we have to do consistently every day of the week to drive the business forward. So if you're going to automate something, you want to automate those key business drivers first. So let's use the YouTube channel as an example. So we have an automation for our YouTube channel. So when a YouTube video is created, we upload that to Airtable. It then triggers an automation to go to YouTube and scrapes the transcript from YouTube. It feeds that transcript into an AI node via NAN, and then it creates all of the YouTube assets that we need. So it creates a variation of titles that we can choose from. It creates the description. It creates the timestamps. It creates the first comment. It gives us a description for the type of thumbnail that we should generate. It suggests, playlists and categories and all of those types of things. So that's like our core workflow that we want to get right. But then the question becomes, okay, once we have that core workflow, what else can we do for that YouTube automation? So then I look at it in two different ways. We have what happens before that automation, so pre-automations, and then what happens post that automation. So let's start with the pre first. And I've got the ones that we've done in red are the ones we've already created. So these are all the things that we could do. So essentially what happens before a YouTube video is created is we need to come up with the idea, right? And we need to generate some sort of outline or a script or an automation or a review of a tool. All of those types of things need to be generated before we can actually create the video. So we can get that in a number of ways and a number of sources. So the one that I've already created is we can generate new YouTube ideas based on news announcements. So if I look at this one, then basically what we've set up inside of NAN is a daily trigger. So this triggers at, I believe, 6 a.m. daily. So before I start work, it then reads some of the trusted newsletters that we have in our space. So we have it read that newsletter, and then we ask AI to analyze and decide whether it's relevant to us and whether we should create a video about it. it will then filter, it will create a bunch of outputs in a bunch of items, and it will say yes or no. And all of the ones that are filtered to no just disappear. We don't do anything with them. All of the ones that are filtered to yes, then we add them to a ClickUp task with a due date of today. And then I review those tasks each day to see if we should create that type of video. If we do, then the next step would be I need to like research that a bit more and build that out. And we could automate that part, but I don't have that built yet. We're just generating the ideas. Plus, I'm pretty good at doing a lot of these videos on the fly anyway. So that's like one example of an automation that we could build based on the first automation. Now, it's up to you whether you want to build that into the same system or you want to build a different system. We choose to build different systems because we actually provide a lot of these systems inside of our community for others to actually benefit from them as well. But if you're building them for a client, then the clients might want it in a fully enclosed system inside of like an Airtable or something like that. But some of these other ideas I have is I could generate new YouTube ideas based on training videos that are already on YouTube. I could generate them based on previous video ideas. So any videos that have done well for us in the past, and we can find some similar topics. And we could also generate assets and scripts based on automations built from my team. So if we share any automations, then we could generate those ideas and the scripts based on those automations. So there are other things that we're going to build over time. But once we have that YouTube video created and a transcript, we can do a whole lot more down here as well. So we can do things like automatically create social media promo posts. We can create carousels and reels and emails. We can create tutorials for our website. We can promote that video on Reddit and Quora forums to answer questions that have been asked. We could collect questions on comments and add them to the system for the ideas. So that kind of relates with this one here as well. Oh, sorry, this one here as well, which is generating new ideas based on previous videos. So we've built these ones here in red, but these ones that we can build out. So we could build out a workflow that reads Reddit and Quora, finds the search term based on the videos that we're creating, and then add that as an answer to those questions. But let's have a deeper look at some of the assets that we generate for promotions. So we have this system here where once the transcript is created, we trigger it via a webhook inside of Airtable. And then it goes off, it creates a newsletter so it creates two styles of new emails. It creates a newsletter, which is a very detailed educational type of newsletter, but it also just creates a promo email to push people from our email list to the YouTube video as well. We then use it to create a short script. So I haven't been very good at doing those yet, but we're actually going to be creating shorts for each of the YouTube videos that then lead into the longer video as well. So it creates those scripts. It then creates social media posts. So those posts are done in many different ways. And what I began to realize is we're building out all of these different systems that was leading to social media. So we built out a social media system, which I'm going to come back to in a second. But a second one that we have here is we needed a different workflow for the carousels because they were a little bit more detailed. And part of this workflow actually is requiring a lot of human input. So the thing that I've learned quite a lot over the last 6 months as we've been building a lot of these workflows for clients is so many times we try and automate every single small step inside of the automation. But in order to build, there are some times where in order to automate like a 5-minute task, it could actually take you like 10 hours to build it out because it's so complicated. So sometimes it's better to just have human input sections where you actually just prompt it a few times inside of ChatGPT, have a chat thread so you can go back and forth multiple times, and then use that output that you get that you're happy with from the dashboard, put that back into your AI automation, and then trigger a second workflow again. So this is something that we do quite a lot now because it just makes way more sense to focus on the high productivity type of sections, the things that are easy to build, get those right first, and then move on to the harder parts later once we have some traction. So in this carousel workflow here, we have a little bit of human input. We then take that input and we use AI to generate the script for the carousel and the other images. And then we send that carousel to the social media system, or we just upload directly inside of Instagram. So what we found was happening was we needed actually a centralized location for all of the content to flow to, because we're building so many different systems that it was getting a little bit convoluted, having to log into multiple interfaces. So we started to then send them all to a single place. So we have like what we call our content command center, which is our core social media posting system. So essentially we send everything into here. And then once we've checked the post, making sure that we have the image correct, making sure that the post is correct, making sure that we have the time correct for when we want it to post, We then get all of that info from our social media system in Airtable. We format it inside of NAN so that it's good for the Metricool API. We post it then or schedule it on Metricool, and then Metricool will send us back a success status to say that it's been scheduled out. So that's our workflow for our YouTube. So the whole point of showing you this is to point out that you want to focus on the core parts, the core business drivers first, get that right, and then think, okay, what can I do before to help this core part of the business or core business driver? And what can I do after to then help distribute that, or like to do the next steps after that core business driver? We do the same thing for our AI tools review. We have so many different automations built out for that as well. I'm not going to go through that in this video because you kind of get the point now. But if you're a successful business owner, an established business owner, you have these core pillars, these core business drivers that you have to focus on every day in order to keep the business running and growing and making sure it's successful. So once you realize that, is that the place to start? This is going to be your highest ROI, lowest risk place to start when it comes to AI automation. Then everything else becomes so much easier, and you just start to build on top of it. You chip away at it each month, building just little bits and pieces on top of these workflows that you create for your core business drivers. After you've automated basically everything for your core business drivers, then go and start on the experimental things. Build out the crazy bots and the crazy automations and the crazy AI assistants and all of these things that are not proven yet. They might look good in theory by, a lot of hype from the different content creators, but in the real world, we need to focus on the things that drive the business forward each and every day. So if you are interested in working with us for these types of things, make sure you go to makebigmoves.ai. I'll make sure that's linked in the description as well. Or if you just want to dive into more of these principles and dive into some AI tools, then make sure you watch this video next. See you there.